Hello, everyone. Happy evening. Happy early start to the weekend. It is Thursday, April the 22nd, and this is our first kickoff of the Art of Social Justice. My name is Shirley Broussard. I work here at Winston-Salem State University. I'm the event coordinator, but most of the time, I just love being in front of the camera and talking and creating great events that I can also actually bring my friends in with their talents and, really make an effect here at this campus, Winston-Salem State. So this evening, you guys are joining us, and you're going to be a part of a really awesome experience. I won't go too far onto everything with social justice, because each of our artists, as they come in and introduce their piece, will give us a little something about how they've experienced art within social justice and why they're bringing this together and why they are doing what they are doing. But what I'd like to do first is bring up, I see him here, our chairperson he doesn't like me to call him the president, but I'm calling him Prez, our chair of the Lyceum Committee here at Winston. Here he is, Dr. Brown. How are you?
Hey, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. Like, I literally, if I could show, I have like chills right now. I know that the talent that we have tonight is going to be awesome. I'm so happy that this is my second year being a part of Lyceum, and this year we have really been able to do a lot of cool stuff virtually. So if you could just give us a couple of words about Lyceum, why we do what we do here at Winston-Salem State. I know they got it they have Lyceum at other universities, but why are we doing what we do here at Winston-Salem State University?
Absolutely. I'll speak a little bit about that. What is Lyceum? Lyceum is whatever we want it to be as a committee. And what do I mean by that? This is our opportunity to provide experiences for students that they will never get in a classroom, that they will never get in a textbook. It could be a concert, it could be a lecture series, it could be an instructional thing and cooking and art, it could be a poetry showcase, it could be dance, it could literally be anything that we think would enhance the Ramily, enhance what the students are getting already from the classes and enhance what they're getting from student activities. So we've had to be very creative during this pandemic to find things that students would learn from and also be willing to participate in a virtual setting. I know many of us zoomed out. I know we've heard that term all of 2020 and 2021, but we're doing what we can to be safe. And with everything going on in this country and in this world, especially in the summer of 2020 until now, I think this event is very relevant. Social justice is an ongoing fight in this country, and it's a very important part of the mission of the university. So we are hoping through the spoken words and the songs that you hear tonight that everybody is just charged to do our little part to try to achieve greater strides in this fight for social justice and for equality. So Shirley and all the rest of the Lyceum committee, I applaud all of your creativity, all of the hard, long nights, early mornings of brainstorming ways to make all of these events go successfully. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Yes, me too. Just speaking on that, we've been able to do live cooking shows. We just recently had a paint and chat, which was awesome. And we're looking to do even more. Even if we have to do virtual, I think virtual is still really fun because we're able to reach more than just who is on campus. We are able to reach out to the community and sometimes outside of North Carolina. So it's really cool. I love it. So I thank you. Hopefully you can come on at the end and be a part of our conversation after all of our performances. If you don't, I will text you and I will make you come back. But thank you so much, Dr. Brown. We're going to get started. And so we will see you later.
All right.
All right, everyone. Again, thank you, Dr. Brown. What we're going to do now, it's time to get this party started. It is time to hear this talent, to be able to see the talent behind the talent. So up first, I have to give props because this is also not only a cool brother from Durham, but he is also my Zulu brother, and I love him dearly. So everyone, please give it up for Mr. Dasan Ahanu. How are you? He's up.
I'm doing well. What's going on, sis? How you?
I'm doing extremely well. I swear, like I told Dr. Brown, like I wish I could really, like I have chills right now. I'm super excited about tonight. I have kind of previewed some of the stuff and some of what has been given to me as far as the talent. I was able to see it beforehand. Again, chill bumps. So I'm excited. So if you could give us a quick blurb about Jambalaya, your team, and also if you could talk to us just a little bit about social justice and how you're connecting it with the art of poetry.
Yeah, so I am tonight representing the Jambalaya Soul Slam, which is a poetry slam event that's been happening in Durham since 2005. It happens every third Saturday at 8 p.m. at the Hayti Heritage Center. That's important because the Hayti Heritage Center is an African-American cultural center. It's also a historic landmark, a big part of the historic Hayti neighborhood in Durham that was another Black Wall Street. And so for the poets, especially for the Black poets, we call that space home. And for us to represent that space as the Bull City Slam team is really important. And to be able to not only be able to do work in our community, but to travel around the country and take stages, carrying that legacy with us is hella important. So I brought some of the Bull City Slam team with me tonight to present. And for me, I got my start in the arts, taking a stage at the same time that I got introduced to social justice work, community organizing. And so these two things have always gone hand in hand for me. I believe our voices are powerful. We can articulate a message that everyone needs to hear, but we can also tell really necessary stories about the kind of things that we go through and make it tangible for people. So that's why this is so important to me.
Wow. Let me just say for everyone that's out there, please make sure to pay attention. Oh, you're getting a comment right here. Ooh. You are celebrity status. You got, everybody's going to be chiming in and saying hello. I will drop your comments as long as they're positive so that everyone that is performing can actually see that you guys love them and you appreciate their talent. So, Dasan, without further ado, go ahead and introduce your team.
Here's the way that I want. Here's the one thing that I want you all to walk away from. Understand, a position is not a person holds it. A title is not a person gains it. An organization is not a person, people staff it. A building is not a person, people occupy it. An institution is not a person, people make it. A plan is not a person, people make it matter. You take these things away, you still have people, which means you retain what really matters, the ability to envision an organization, occupy a building, make an institution, staff it, identify strengths, recognize weaknesses, adapt, grow, maximize skills, and establish effective strategy. We have the people. The people just got to have trust and faith in themselves, maintain a belief that when you are standing on a plot of land looking at rubble, there is no need to worry. As long as the people are there, then that rubble is just a reminder that you need to clear the land so you can build what's next. With that understanding, we offer to you our art, Jambalaya Soul Slam Bull City Slam team.
Thank you so much. I'm just glad to be in this position to have this job because I get to sit here and get all the talent. So, all right, we're going to transition into this, y'all. Get ready for Jambalaya Soul.
They call joy reckless, where dim asphalt and burdened shoulders comprise the first place that the city forgot. A place where Mama's God and Uncle Lester's Jim Beam makes the pain easier to forget. A place where laughter dances under street lights, smiles billboard the corner store, and hallelujahs fill the pews beneath stained glass. A place where heroes stand picturesque on cardboard stapled with the popsicle sticks on the front of dulling t-shirts. See, this place be over-patrolled, underfunded, and heavily burdened. Be bastardized for the black and brown polymer used to weave resilience around here. See, this place cannot be erased. It cannot be bleached. It cannot be burnt or bloodied less than. It cannot be demonized or stigmatized into disappearing. No. So this place will never go away. Its sight will never become unfamiliar to our eyes. Its taste will never become unfamiliar to our tongue. The smell will always be grease and freedom. Sound will be a joyful noise, and its touch will always be a welcoming embrace home.
Power, the amount of energy converted over a period of time. Power, the ability to act. Power, the force required to change states. Power, the reason responsibility is essential. Power to the people, by the people, for the people. For it's the people's power that gives us possibility, the creation of our new reality. Now it's community that stabilizes the economy. It is community that should be the target for efforts for justice and love, for it is the first foundation we have outside of family. The community I speak of are those living in proximity to circumstances that are outside of their control, yet find a way to maintain their motivation despite the oppression. They survive over extended periods of time and time again. They're calling out politicians, but some are only concerned with their profits and percentages, and won't risk making permanent changes if there's a probability it will waste the change of the philanthropist. But how can we get them to see that these families are more than statistics and ledgers? It requires the appointment of new leaders, ones who have listened to the concerns of the streets, leaders who have walked with the citizens along the sidewalks, along the community centers, with the intention of learning rather than dictating, liberating rather than dominating, loving rather than driving a point home with no understanding of the neighborhood that needs its protection. Social change has evolved over the years as well as the needs of the people, but the mindset has always been adapted, or is it stuck on repeat? You see, activism must be more than academic. It must be accessible and affordable. Freedom must be more than a promise to the future. It must be present and fair. Those bestowed with the capacity to change should adapt their policies for the people they serve rather than serving an agenda. Which leads to the question, how do we define change? How can we measure the progress of our efforts? By studying the self-sustainability of a certain society over the course of seasons? Can these folk find foundation without having to file for unemployment? Can they stay vigilant without having to worry about becoming a victim of some patrol unit? Can they follow the stay-at-home procedures without having to worry about losing the home they stay at? Can these activists and organizations focus their duties without having to choose between chasing a check for rent and implementing those changes to the same community? It is not a question but an answer of power. The same power that led to the raising of black fists in solidarity, the power that led to the suffrage movement in the 1920s, the power that protected the ideals of our beloved nation from potential dictators who wished for the oppression of its own citizens. And although we may say power to the people, we must remember that that power was given willingly. So we should use it to provide, to protect, to prepare, and to progress, because those people who choose us, they choose us to be their heroes. And like a great man once said, with great power comes great responsibility.
There are days when I don't want to be a voice, when the consequence of my controversial tongue may welcome me in early grave days, when they may mistake my resilience for rebellion, will call my passion problematic, how quickly they try to silence the oppressed and call it all lives matter. I know how these things go. How bullet holes seem to find their way into the bodies of those who have chosen to change the world, those who have taken on the weight of eradicating injustice. I know the type of target this line of work can put on your back, or your chest, or your head, depending on the assassin's position. I know that my vision may outlive my voice. How eternity has a way of remembering a name long after the body has been buried. How this may not be conspiracy, but it also isn't coincidence. How one must be silent or be silenced, shut up or be shot up, tied up, cut up, found dead. How death is always at the doorstep of those who fight for human and civil rights. Even John the Baptist was executed. Even Jesus Christ was crucified. Do you see the pattern of fate? How service can look a lot more like suicide than sacrifice sometimes. Freedom of speech feels like staring into the barrel of a gun and begging for it to fire. It is knowing that my words one day may make me both newsworthy and noose-worthy, and in spite of that, still deciding that my voice is necessary. So if the price for this fight comes at my life's expense, if my inheritance be a breathless body too powerful to exist, if I must be a martyr, a sacrificial lamb, then may I speak until the floor removed and the noose tightened. May I protest until the barrel smoke and the bullet make a fountain of my blood. May I fight until the fire's flame consumes my flesh. If death be my destiny, if the words from my lips one day make a lynching of me, if you so afraid of change that you kill, then may my mouth be a movement to Malcolm X to muzzle. A radical rejection of everything that oppresses my people. May it be resistance, a revolution, a riot raging on the roll of my tongue. I will not be quiet. I'm unafraid of dying. Besides, being black and woman and loud is knowing you are living on borrowed time every day.
Here in North Carolina stood a billboard of a black cop, a Latin firefighter, in front of a rainbow of children, faces all flooded with smiles, just beneath black words on a white background that read, "Lives Matter." It must be nice to be able to use the faces of those suffering to masquerade the rewording of a protest, to feel so deserving of an invitation to someone else's pain that you costume a casket onto your tongue so that your words can mourn of someone else's tragedy. When my color has been amputated from Black Lives Matter, it is to say that my blackness is a spreading infection, and that the viral videos of the murder of my people is not the spreading of awareness. It is a racist cure and a death sentence. They have somehow used the proof of my people's murder as evidence to exonerate us away from justice. Their words have always been the tool that they have used to rob us of our humanity, to rename our identity, to judge and book us by our covers, and then Kunta Kinte us away from the footnotes. But our history is God passed down in the miracle of our names. And our truths are kingdoms too holy for your King James. We are tired of being seen as rough drafts when we are pages torn from the Bible. We've seen how you've tried to whitewash history and call it a baptism, how you've called the ugly truth by a Christian name and expecting forgiveness to respond. You cannot tell me there is repentance and forgetting when here in this city there are statues and buildings buildings named for the men and women who treated my ancestors worse than livestock. You cannot tell me not standing for the national anthem is anti-American. When the most this country has ever stood for us, when the most America has ever valued a black body, was in an auction block during slavery. You cannot tell me lives actually matter. When the men and women who take an oath to protect and serve are prosecuting unarmed human beings in the streets, sentencing them to die, and the footages of the murder is a longer time than the police officer will ever spend in a jail cell. There is blood on America's fingers. And this country refuses to wash its hands before handling our rights. It refuses to swallow the history in its mouth before speaking to us about justice. So when you tell me lives matter, you are speaking in reworded obituaries, all on the foundation of emotions chiseled from tombstones. We only hear your words at funerals. We only see your mouths as open graves, and we are tired of being the caskets for your conversations.
To my people of ash and soot, we know fire. Lit match the gunpowder turned kin in the kindling. Ritual burial, the residue for resistance. The rest were bundled on the cargo ships. Those who knew how combustible colonization was sought the water as refuge. Those left were set in the sun like stacked wood in the living room of white supremacy. Overseers like chimney sweeps, making sure the notes sung never reached the heavens. I sent signals to those in the wood who knew how to read the message along the skyline. We know burning, because devils have never cared what they poured kerosene on as long as they got to see the flames. Lit match the body, Molotov cocktail the house, bomb to building. What else can you say about those who set crosses ablaze in front of the blessed like they were trying to sear away the truth that melanin was crucified for their sins? Sometimes I think we got stuck with a white Jesus because he needed to be wrapped in gauze from the 3rd degree burns. We know ash and soot can script prophecy in the smoke. See the deadening as the promise of renewal. Know we got a covenant with the earth, and it will always help us turn desolation into ceremony. We just got to give our incandescent dreams back to the mother who helped to birth them. Sit at her feet as she teaches us how to cook a phoenix from scraps and lay spread new hope like Resurrection Sunday. Weren't we the ones who raised glory in a clearing and named that a church? So everywhere we are is a sanctuary. Every breath is a gospel. We get so dressed up on Easter because the ongoing will to rebuild deserves celebration. It's coded affirmation. Like spirituals taught us how to get through, this pageantry tells us how to get on. Just think about the black and gray we dress ourselves in to send our beloved gone home. Don't it seem so fitting for us? I always wondered why the church house smelt smoldering, why the wailing sounded like sirens, why each I love you, shed tear and hug seems so necessary. Soil got to be treated for a new blossoming. And we know what it is the work feels around here. Know what it is to call magic from the dark. Know what it looks like to build from brimstone. Hell, they still mad they made us craft this America and we didn't pyramid their empire in appropriate astronomy. So they shooting stars trying to understand the night sky. So they believe they can win with fire. But ain't no blaze that can take our brilliance, can't take our purpose, can't erase our impact, can't remove our importance. We still gonna know joy. We still gonna cry and laugh. We still gonna create family, legacy, and survival manuals. We still gonna dance with the same legs that crumble in misery. Still gonna succeed in the same madness they revel in. Live full. Be so powerful. We children of the sun will never be afraid of the fire because we resilient, wonderful, scarred Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 will consistently come through with the light.
Woo! Y'all give it up. I wish I could hear everybody clapping, but y'all give it up for Jambalaya Soul Slam. I am, you know what? oof, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. All I know that as we're talking, as I'm watching the comments, and as people are dropping, their feelings about what they're hearing, it's making me excited on the level of you don't even know what's next. It's like that's how I felt about every poet that came up through Jambalaya. So silently, I'm gonna pretend like I hear y'all clapping, give it up. You know what? I can look up here and see we're on StreamYard. Hit the heart button, hit the thumbs up, get those likes out there. Let people know that you really enjoyed yourself because I am enjoying myself. So up next we have they call me the Pied Piper here at Winston-Salem State, but my brother is pretty much my twin in this, So I want y'all to give it up for the one and only Dr. Jack Monell.
Sis,
What up there?
sis,
What up there, though?
number one, way too much credit, but I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate it. Listen, hey, so first and foremost, thank you for having me on this evening. And let's give it up once again for the poets, man. Snap the fingers, do what it is, do what you do. So for those out there, my name is Jack Monell. I'm a justice studies professor, social justice professor at the Winston-Salem State University. And for me, I'm invited to give kind of synopsis of how arts, entertainment, and social justice intertwine. And you can't have one without the other, but in our community, in the diaspora, right? Because we've used arts, expressionism, entertainment to be able to fight against all these social injustices we see as recently as yesterday. So unfortunately, that is the passion that you're going to witness, experience tonight is going to be all of it. And we just got a snippet of it. Man, I'm excited. So, for me, I go back to the late Langston Hughes, Negro, sweet and docile, meek, humble, and kind. Beware of the day that they change their mind, right? So when we saw the protesting last summer, the summer of civil rights, when we seen the world protest because of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and the list goes on and on and on. People were like, oh, they can protest, or we tried to kneel. Well, they said you shouldn't kneel. Well, we tried the hands up. Well, they said you shouldn't try the hands up. Well, doggone it, what can we do? What is left? So then, things got a little rough, rugged, and raw. Well, that's the frustration. The late, great Dr. King said, you keep pushing those buttons. You keep pushing those buttons, and the revolution will come. The revolution is not supposed to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be accommodating. It's supposed to be unapologetic. And what you're seeing right now through artistic expression, through activism, is that we tired. We are tired, and we gonna fight. So for the poets out here, for the program this evening, for all my social justice activists out there in the community, keep fighting. Don't do it the way I do it. Don't do it the way my sis do it. Do it the way it works for you. Everybody does it differently. The folks tonight are artistic. They're spitting their lyrics like it's a cipher. And quite frankly, if you look at history, if you look at the blues, if you look at the Renaissance, if you look at the hip-hop movement, if you look at all of these musical genres, what you find is that there was always activism deeply rooted in it. You dig? So for me, art and expression goes hand in hand, because the reality of it is we weren't afforded the same opportunities as others in our community. So we had to be creative in doing this thing. We had to be able to empower ourselves in a manner that made people uncomfortable, but we had to jazz it up because we creative that way. So we threw some tracks down, or we threw some rhymes down, and then people started to listen. And it got so powerful that this past summer, we had white folks, we had Latino folks, we had all denominations protesting across the globe because people were tired of seeing this craziness that's occurring in the United States. That's not a new phenomenon. So let's not trip, y'all. This has been happening since slavery, post-slavery, to Jim Crow, to stop and frisk, and now to what we're dealing with today, y'all. And I will finish up on this. And I can't finish up without another powerful person, James Baldwin. when I'm an educator, Shali's an educator, we still in the game, but we educators, right? We're educators. The paradox of education is precisely this. As one becomes conscious, he or she begins to examine the society for which they're being educated. And what you're seeing today, you're seeing everyone, it's like a reawakening, an empowering stage of activism and anger and directed anger. So when people tell me, well, Kaepernick shouldn't have been the one for, protesting, I'm like, well, who should have done it? When they say, well, we shouldn't, march and protest, and why are they boarding up buildings? Then what should we do? Because we've tried the other stuff. We've tried the peaceful stuff. But, for me, I'm more like, I'm like Malcolm X. So for me, it's about by any means necessary. So when we look at arts and social justice, and we look at what we're doing at Winston-Salem State, Shali, and all of my other colleagues, Dr. Brown, who was on earlier, we're empowering our young people to be social change agents, because historically, that's what we saw in the society, in the world, right? Social movements have been spearheaded by young people, by college kids, college students. So for all of you out there watching, enjoy the show, be empowered, be inspired. You know what I mean? And just, we have some Nikki Giovanni's out here. We have some Paul Lawrence Dunbars. Listen, man, go out there and fight. Use your gifts. Use your gifts. Man, I wish I could spit like some of these poets. I'm going to start writing now. But I thank all of you, man. Continue to support my sis Shali. These programs are important. Have fun this evening. And I look forward to meeting you one day, man. Come check us out. Go Rams.
I love you, Doc. Thank you so much. And the whole team loves you. So I appreciate your words. I know you may not be able to join us later, but if you are able to pop in, please pop in for the discussion at the end. All right?
Absolutely, sis. Love you, man.
All right. Love you too, bro. All right, y'all. So as for those of you that know Doc, when he gets heated up, when he gets excited, he wants people to learn in that moment. It's not wait till later when you're in the classroom. You're going to learn something now. So give it up one more time for Doc Monell. All right, y'all. So up next, another brother from another mother and a whole other family. I've been working with this guy for years. It's been a long pause in between the time that we've gotten together. But I'll tell you what, the arts brings us together every time. So y'all give it up for my bro, Josephus. You get your name up here, and I'm going to get your face up here. There you go.
Boom. What is up?
What is up with you?
I'm chilling, man. I'm happy to be here. So thank you for including me, in this phenomenal presentation, HBCU style. So shout out to WSSU, doing big things, setting this trend, you know what I'm saying, of artists in the community and social justice. So I'm proud to be a part.
You are I never told you this. You are the first poet that I met ever on the level where I'm looking at a person and saying, oh my God, he's talented with poetry. You see people that are poets.
Right.
Giovanni back in the day as a child, I read, different poems, and you read them, you're like, okay. But then when I met you, and I was like watching you on stage in Greensboro back in the day, and even till now, you were the first person I met. And then when you brought me in, it was like, yo, you're a dancer. I'm also a choreographer, y'all. And
right.
Bring me in, and I just remember seeing all of the cool ways that you took poetry and put it on stage. You didn't just get up there and spit some words. You added all different art forms to it. So I didn't want to cut you off, but I had to give you a shout out on that.
I appreciate that.
You my boy. But give us a little piece about, why you do what you do with art and how it connects with social justice.
Man, so I think as an artist, our job is to tell our stories, and our stories intertwine with the community, because we are part of the community. And so, social justice is another word for our lives every single day. For being a Black person in America, social justice is part of who you are, whether or not you're fighting or not. Like the brother before me said, everybody has their own vein that they have to do. Some of us is art, some of us is marching, some of us is tweeting, and telling stories and singing. So I've just found that this art form allows me to tell my story, support my community, and to support other voices attempting to be heard. We'll have a space to continue to fight to inspire, each other and to support each other through this art form.
The computer doesn't let you do two things at one time. I apologize for that.
It's all good.
One thing that touched me before we go into your set, I really enjoyed you when all three of you sent me your little snippets.
Uh-huh.
When I first started your snippet, and you just kind of sat back, and it's like you took a moment to, before you even gave your, hey everyone, come out, join us on the 22nd. You spoke about how April 20th, I'm not gonna say because it sounds like something that's about to say it with the number. April 20th.
I got you.
That was a day to celebrate. And we could talk about this more during the discussion, but I just want to say that the way in which you stopped and you thought about that, and you said it's so important for us to do this right now, for us to have this program right now. We didn't, I really wasn't paying attention to know that last trial was going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But for it to happen then, for us to get the result that we got, and now here we are talking about, and I say we as you all, talking about social justice through the art form. Right now, I feel like this is something that people can continue to go back to on the WSSU YouTube page and the WSSU Facebook page. Also on my YouTube page, I put it on mine as well. But you want to go back and watch this over and over to really hear our voice. Because every voice that's heard through each poet is talking about where we came from, where we are, and where we hope to go. So I just wanted to spit that. I don't have the rhyme flow, but I do, have that thought in my mind, and I want to express that. So you can go ahead, and I'm gonna mute myself and set up so we can come in straight from the gate.
Word. Well, again, thank you for allowing us the space to continue to tell our stories. Definitely trend setting as usual, doing big things. HBCUs, stand up, Winston State University. So this is on behalf of the Poetry Cafe, an open mic I hosted here in Greensboro for the past 15 years, and just a space for us to come together, share our art forms, and inspire the world. So this is our little set. Hopefully you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're feeding your mind, your body, and your soul, Poetry Cafe style. Let's go.
Good evening and welcome to our tiny blue room. My name is Josephus, host of the Poetry Cafe and host of this segment here for you tonight. So we're going to bring you a couple of artists that are going to entertain, to educate, to make you feel good all over from head to toe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And the first artist bringing to you tonight is Kelsey, Sun Queen. So hope you all enjoy.
It's your boo, Sun Queen. I'm going to talk to you about radical self-love, body positivity, and how good it feels to be black in my song, Black Queen. I feel like gold, 24 karat ain't enough. I ain't the type you can pawn, squander, leave on the side of the street, neglect the little black swan. You forgot that I make worlds, I tear them down, I move it back up. And if I stop dropping gems, the whole internet would shut down. I'm like, it must be the magic passed down from my ancestors. And it must be the way my voice speaks multiple languages. And if you stare hard enough, you'll see that I don't give a, and you'll see that now we standing up to reclaim. the language of ocean. I make the world break its neck just to look. I invented half the things that you use. Still looking for my credit, but do what you do. I'm a sun queen, black queen, your only god is high ruler empress, the only piece on the board that can do anything. I can do anything. Today's my coronation. I've been waiting patient. Don't keep me waiting. You know I deserve it. I deserve it. Oh, 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 yeah. Hey. I'm a black queen. I burn sage and I pray and I cook greens. Hey, I make you fall in love. I got the magic, baby. Oh, oh, hey. I'm a black queen. I do yoga. I'm a soldier. I make mac and cheese. Hey, I make you fall in love. I got the magic, baby. Oh, oh, I'ma be unapologetically black. I'ma do what feels good to me. You know that. And I'ma be unapologetically black. I'ma do what feels good to me. You know that. All right, that was Black Queen. My name is Sun Queen Kelsey, and you can find me on Instagram at SUNQUEENKELCEY. That's Sun Queen Kelsey.
Tiny Blue Room.
No,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? That's
I was like, ooh.
it might be a thing, y'all. Tiny Blue Room. You know what I'm saying?
Hashtag Tiny Blue Room.
Hashtag Tiny Blue Room, aka the Portrait Cafe, aka Cephas and Jame. We in here for you.
Melodies of marching men before me, harmonies of daughters lost in them. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever. Melodies of marching men before me, harmonies of daughters lost in them. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever.
So here we are. Look at us. Cocked, locked and loaded, always rushed, always late. The human race. What if I told you? Human race, not a race at all, but simply souls. Wrapped in bone and tissue, trying to find a way to shine through. We are human. Wishing to our death daily, living to our demise. Some days singing salvation, on others damnation. All depending on the situation, seldom do we slow. Saluting sex, which we want to be wallow. Selfish we sin. Soon we'll see the purpose. The purpose is power. But in the meantime, we run.
Melodies of marching men before me, harmonies of daughters lost in them. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever. Melodies of marching men
and wonder why our butt hurts. We play Russian roulette. We're not living waiting to die one single chamber at a time. We are stuck on stupid. Can't find the remotes. We're watching reruns of the Brady Bunch, and we can't relate. And on some days we try to make something out of nothing, and some days we do. But our minds are racing. I think the true life lessons buried within our chest. We find our true treasure, always ticking, always beating. Therefore, making us human. So then we run towards death or rationale. Relationships we do not walk because we are human. So we race. Melodies before me.
Harmonies of darkness, lost in him. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever. Melodies marching, men before me. Harmonies of daughters lost in him. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever.
Melodies.
Oh, harmonies of daughters lost to them. Follow me, and I promise we'll run together. We'll fly forever.
And ever.
Great.
Alright, so if you're just now tuning in, the Art of Soul
It's
is happening by the way of the Poetry Cafe, by the
That's
way of
us.
Tiny Blue Room, by the way of Josephus and Jamie, Mike on the keys, Tony on the congas,
That's what it is.
making it do what it do. So we got some more for y'all, so stick and stay where you're at. But I'm gonna hand it over to Jamie for a quick moment and let her give y'all a little treat.
Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, black boy? You ain't never gonna fly. No place big enough to hold you. All those tears you're gonna cry. 'Cause your mama's feeling lonely. You never made it home that night. To whom this may concern, this letter is in regards to my brother. He's not old enough to realize you're coming for him, so I'm writing on his behalf. I was taught you write letters in blue or black ink, so please excuse me for writing this in blood red. And don't misread what I said for hypothetical, but I figured if I spilled mine, you would spare his, but getting ahead of myself. My brother is 8 years old, high yellow, and loves to watch video game commentaries. He has a hyperactive imagination, so I'm gonna clear up a few things before you clear out another black boy. One, if you see him with a toy gun in the middle of Walmart, I want you to see John Crawford, 22 years old, unarmed, stop and walk away. Two, if he decides to sit on his stoop and enjoy his last breaths at the end of the day in New York City, I want you to see Amadou Diallo, 23 years old, unarmed, stop and walk away. Three, if he's blasting his music too loudly with his friends, I want you to see Jordan Davis, 19 years old, unarmed, ask him to turn his music down politely. Get back in your car and drive away. Four, if he is walking through your neighborhood in the middle of the night and his presence alarms you, I want you to see Trayvon Martin, 17 years old, unarmed, ask him if he's trying to find his way home and walk away. Five, if he knocks on your door in the middle of the night, I want you to see Jonathan Farrell, 24 years old, unarmed. Do not assume he intends to rob you.
Let him use your phone to call someone, shut your door, and walk away. Kamani Gray, 16 unarmed, he's on his way home. Irving Jefferson, 18 unarmed, he's protecting our baby sister. Timothy Stanberry Jr., 19 unarmed, he didn't mean to startle you. Sean Bell, Orlando Barlow, Kendrick McDade, Usmani Zongo, Aaron Campbell, Eric Garner, my brother, unarmed. It's funny how their innocence sounds a lot like the rounds you shot into them, but not my brother. When you see my brother, I want you to see a boy with aspirations of flying, as I have reoccurring nightmares of him falling to concrete like all the black boys before him. When you see my brother, I want you to feel the tears of a mother whose boy never made it home. I want you to feel the sorrow of a father whose legacy was snatched from him. When you see my brother, let him live. Live to be 10, 16, 22, 35, 100. Let my brother live. And walk away. I've been moving linearly to my destiny. Passion blazing, laid it out for all the world to see. My line, my time, I'll shine out like my community. My heart, my love, my life on the line for you and me.
So every single time I pick up a pen, just a pen, I put my life on the line. Pieces of my soul, coming up like railroad tracks, taking me further and further. I've never ever been out this far, but I'm praying to God that you don't drop. I'm asking, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Was my signal fading, waiting in the waters, while constantly throw lines past, so a part of my life, trying to make a deeper connection. So I'm asking feet, don't fail me now as I walk it. I'm asking hard, don't fail me now. Slay my emotions, my pains, my struggles, my stripes, my life, with a Mason Dixon. Somewhere between north and south, between east and west, between black and white, between right and wrong, we've all sung freedom songs. From sun up to sundown, the sound turns silent, and then violence, and then somehow to peace. So converted back to sound, and it vibrates time. Understand the line, your line, my line, spares no one, loves no one, honors, obeys, respects no one, just stretches as far as your eyes can see. Taking the dots to your destiny, it's mesmerizing ecstasy. Sometimes, okay, most times it's blurry. But I promise you it's my love, my life, my peace, my gifts, my art, my joy, my tears, my fears, my passion, my purpose, my service. And for you, here and now, I lay all that I am, all that I hope to be, all of my dreams, ambitions, passions on the line. Just trying to change the world. The line. I've been moving linearly to my destiny. Passion blazing, laid it out for all the world to see. My line, my time, I'll shine out like my community. My heart, my love, my life on the line for you and me. For you and me. So in this life, there'll be so many hills and valleys, so many peaks and mountains, so many rivers and streams. The line of your life remains true. The line of your life will move you to all that is destined for you. Understand this line spares no one, loves no one, honors, obeys, respects no one, just stretches as far as your eyes can see. Taking the dots to your destiny, it's mesmerizing ecstasy. It's sometimes blurry, but I promise you it's my love, my life, my peace, my gifts, my art, my joy, my tears, my fears, my passion, my purpose, my service. And for you, and you, right here and now, I lay all that I am, all that I hope to be. The line. I've been moving linearly to my destiny. Passion blazing, laid it out for all the world to see. My line, my time, I'll shine out like my community. My heart, my love, my life on the line for you and me. I've been moving linearly to my destiny. Passion blazing, laid it out for all the world to see. My line, coming to you, giving you what we got here in the Poetry Cafe, the art of social justice, hashtag Tiny Blue Room, hashtag giving you what you need, feeding your mind and your body and your soul.
Hashtag giving what needed to be gained.
Yeah. So, tell people something about you they may not know.
About me?
Yeah, about you. How long you been singing?
Oh, wow. Gee, I've been singing for over 20 years now.
Okay, that sounds like a long time. Like a full-length career type of
situation. Basically, like before I realized it, it's like, oh, look at me, aging with the music.
Well, tell me where they can find you if they like what they're hearing tonight. Where can they check you out?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Jamai. You can find me on everything at Official Jamai. That is official OFFICIAL. Jamai JHAMAI. Or you can search my hashtag JahFeelMe, and that is JHA.
All right, y'all. I feel like every time I come here, I'm gonna say the same thing. We have our own private chat as far as the people that are performing and everyone kind of the behind the scenes, and we're up here just like talking about how dope the layout is, and I love the way that the poets are actually giving each other props for the greatness that they are hearing themselves. So we kind of feel like we're in the audience having a good time watching the show. So, big shouts to my brother Josephus. The live band, really, bro? Really? That's what you're doing? You really bring in the Poetry Cafe because you just brought the whole show. So give it up all the time. Give it up again for my brother Josephus and the Poetry Cafe. So up next, representing Winston-Salem State University, I'm just going to throw it up there. If you guys know anything about the Burt Singers, at any event that we have, especially, I'll tell you my favorite time is usually during Black History Month and also during graduation. The Burt Singers have been here for years. Miss Dwella Burke is the most awesome woman I have ever met. The talent that she has is ridiculous. So you know what? I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy this. So up next, I would like for everyone to just sit back, relax, and enjoy this piece by the one and only Burt Singers. Enjoy.
He was her only child, her baby boy. She was his second daughter, a father's pride and joy. Somebody's mother, brother, best friend, sister, lover. Maybe an A1 student running high and taking cover. The women gather crying, tears that fill the million oceans. It doesn't matter where you're living. The women gather crying, tears that fill the million oceans. People say, not in this neighborhood. It doesn't happen here. Our kids have everything. What do they have to fear? But what about the ones who say this happens every day? Drugs and violence take our children. How much more death can come away? The women gather crying, tears that fill the million oceans. It doesn't matter where you're living. The women gather crying, tears that fill the million oceans. Don't you know? Some bullets find their targets, bombs that fuck you, fuck. Some in the hands of babies or officials and their crew claim the brother had a victim profile.
That was extremely powerful. Give it up one time, two times, three times for Winston-Salem State's own, the Burt Singers. Listening to that, I think this is probably my third time hearing it, and it's hard to listen to that without coming back and not having tears in my eyes. I had to keep holding it back, mainly because thinking about all the mothers that continuously have to share that same story. And I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's my eyes are welling up. So I'm going to stop now, but give it up one more time for the Burt Singers. Up next, last but not least, our final, but not really final, because this guy never stops. I want you guys to give it up for my brother and see if he's ready. LB, you ready? Let me get the scene. Let me set up the scene for you. Let me make sure that the people can see what you got. LB the poet. There goes your logo. And there you are.
Peace.
What's up, LB?
What's happening?
Peace. Let me throw it up. Let me get it up there. Let me get it up there.
Three fingers.
Do I turn
Word
it
of
this
my
way or
society.
turn it this way?
Yes. Yes.
This way. Got you.
Either, whichever one you feel, you know?
It feels good. I feel like I'm a part of like a really cool
You
team.
are. You're part of the squad. You've been a part of your family.
What?
Yes.
All right. I kind of talked through that when I was trying to, but tell us what this means again. When we throw this up.
It symbolizes word to my society. Everything that we do as a collective is to empower our community and one another and uplift our people.
So, you segued into exactly what I was going to ask. I'm asking every one of our leads for these dope poetry teams. What is it about the art of poetry and how does it make you feel when you have to spit? Now, you spit some crazy like sets, you know what I mean? And I mean, I remember there was a set that you guys did where, what was it? You used a word and you guys, everybody had to use that word, or you always do something with a theme.
Well, yeah, we would theme every show, especially at the beginning. And it just kind of makes for a show when you get different perspectives on the same topic. So with Word Society, it's 7 of us, 7 members. So if we can all tear down one specific topic, it gets a little crazy. I love it.
I love that. That's what I loved about God, open back up. Come on, City. I mean, we're opening back up. You're working on some projects that are coming super, super soon, right around the corner. So if you could, first of all, let us know about how you're connecting the art of poetry to social justice, and then give everybody a little snippet of what you have coming up this summer.
So connecting the poetry to social justice, I feel like, well, with me, it kind of always goes hand in hand. I utilize the poetry to talk about the things in the community that are a little bit uncomfortable or that people kind of pass over because, again, change comes in discomfort, but we avoid discomfort a lot of times. So I utilize the arts to be kind of a cushion for that. And, when it comes to the different events, the poetry events, we theme them. So if something's going on, gun violence, or, it's death in many cities due to gun violence. So that's been one that we've really worked on here lately. But we theme them and just try to deliver the message throughout the night that you leave people with something to take with them versus it just being a good show. Like, don't get me wrong, you can put on a good show, but I like giving people a takeaway. What's the take home? When you get in your car, it's like, dang, he said that we don't really care about each other like that. And, I don't really call my family the way. That's the kind of artist that I like to metaphorically punch people in their stomachs to make them uncomfortable. But we have this summer, I locked in an 8-show concert series here in Winston-Salem with Sika. Off of Renolda, it is entitled Lyrics by the Lake. So we will have 3 musical headliner performances, Word Society, the Wednesday Vendors Market with different vendors, live band, DJ. It's an experience. It's word of mouth Wednesdays outside, magnified times 10. So get ready. The opening night is June 11th, Friday, June 11th. It'll be every other Friday after that. So every second and fourth Friday, Lyrics by the Lake, and we will cap off on the lake. So stay tuned.
I think that's the theme right now. And excuse the grammar, we outside. So, so I'm glad that this is an event that people can partake outside. And I feel like everybody will feel safe. They can bring their lawn chairs, they can bring their blankets.
So we will actually have chairs, and we will have blankets for those of you who want to sit on blankets. We will have Lyrics by the Lake blankets for you to sit on and then take with you when you leave.
Oh, there are takeaways.
Yeah, takeaways. I told you I'm big on takeaways.
So, no, when you sit in this chair, take it with you. COVID, we got to keep everybody clean.
It's yours now.
Stop. You know we can go on and on. All right, so I'm gonna let you introduce your team, and then I got to do the quick little tech, switch it out, bring it in. So go ahead and bring in your team.
Okay. Without further ado, I have a couple members of Word Society this evening. Ellie B, the queen pin of the group, and my brother Witness, Sean Witness Woods. He is one of them, to say the least. So I hope you all enjoy the show. We are Word Society. Everybody watching, everybody at home, if you could do me a favor and throw that 3 up for me, symbolizes word to my society. If you don't take anything from this performance, from me specifically, remember, every day is Wednesday. Every day is WINSDAY. Every day you open your eyes and you're able to make the statement, you've already won. So go appreciate your blessings for the day. Bless up. Why is the terminology that was created to distinctly show our differences as a people the same as the one used to prove to your constituents that we are not at all equal race? Another way to project hate, or is it a better way to relate? Let me ask you something. Are your people really your people, or do you look down on your own? Treating them as if they can never be equal. Maybe you're just trying to escape the realities of what this world really is. Wait, what if it's the fact that you feel misplaced? You've never really felt what home feels like. Imagine living in a society that treats you as if you've overextended your stay, almost like you're always in the way. Like first mistake, you deserve a cage. Teaching you to dismiss your urge to be brave. Race, on one hand, is a symbol of competition, speed, and forward progress. And on the other hand, it is in fact a line in the sand. It's the distinct reasoning behind competition. Better yet, the dog-eat-dog mindset. Imagine living in a land where different cultures are in a constant state of chaos. Like daily human playoffs. I digress. I could say it's a mindset, or the fact that some are so stuck in their ways, they've already got their mindset in reverse. Church. Or should I say the people? Because where there's people, there's power to the people. Black fists raised like right hand of black parent with black belt in place, making sure his or her child is raised the right way, bettering their chances of finishing the race against race. Can you see the correlation between the whippings of our children and the state of our mental enslavement? Don't mind me. I'm just flowing like the streams of black blood purifying the pavement. I don't think society truly embraces what being a slave meant. It's crazy to think how history can be refurbished right before they replace it, or how you can be labeled a terrorist for discovering who you truly are and learning to embrace it. Let me ask you something. Do you consider yourself a racist for wanting your people to finish top 2 or 3 no matter what the race is? Make sure you follow along. If you have to, trace it. You wanting what's best for your own is far from the problem. Learning to love you first is a part of evolving, but in this country, legacy built off the backs of others happens far too often. Race is fake, and racism is so instilled it'll convince you that your emotions are mistaken. But when you know what you're looking for is blatant, like telling us that 666 is a symbol of Satan, but in reality it's a part of our genetic makeup. Crazy. I've learned that as you discover truth, you're caught somewhere in between pissed off and elated. Ancestral lineage sacred. Some believe that we were gods and pharaohs before the enslavement. Some consider themselves to not be of this world, and in the same breath will convince you that God sacrificed his only begotten son to save it and all of the people in it. Now, I'm not saying anyone's views are skewed, but maybe they're a little tinted. We need to break down why the concept of race was invented. Was it to identify a life's sentence? When you treat the next as if they are beneath you, do you ask your Lord for repentance? Can you consider yourself a child of the Most High with a heart full of vengeance? When it comes to society's wrongdoings, are you dismissive? Do you play victim? Are you sick of it? Well, what are the symptoms? Are you competing to win or just hoping you finish? Line by line, I break blueprint down to stencil, hoping to paint a vivid picture. I know that you can hear me, but are you really listening? The human race should not be in competition. We should be focused on the mission, removing our minds from the enslavement to time and the need for the picture-perfect image. Don't let hate take a hold of your heart. Do your best to control it and notice the gimmicks. One thing's for certain and two things for sure, change ain't for the timid. And saints were once the same as sinners, no matter the face, race, creed, or religion. Either you're for or against division. Either you see and believe or you smother the vision. A major decision. Do you choose to stand on this country's founding principles designed to move you forward while holding the rest behind? Do you acknowledge the start, or are you too focused on the finish line? When will we realize that we are the race against time? Every day I wake up with the hopes of being better than I was yesterday, because lately they've been teaching hate, so not many people chose to show love yesterday. Somebody's mother didn't get that one last hug yesterday because violence breeds violence, and another young man lost his life to a slug yesterday. How many chose school over drugs yesterday? To be a scholar instead of a thug yesterday. I can't speak for the next, but I got it out the mud yesterday. I can tell you about the streets and the struggle, or how I met with someone I love yesterday. Man, it is what it is, and it was what it was yesterday. A wise woman once told me that history repeats itself, and there is nothing new under the sun, and Revelations reveals restorations of everything on earth, including the sun. It has begun, and it didn't just begin yesterday. How long have we been praying for better days? Well, let me ask you this. What did you do to prepare for today, yesterday?
2020, a year of revelation. They said 2020 vision, a year of clarity, but 2020 was the year we, Black people, were reminded again of the ongoing disparity. The Black experience in America could easily be assumed an American parody. No way this is real. No way a country could truly honor killers and shame the names of those that were killed. 2020, a heat wave. Red summer in a new age, mobbing in these streets for justice, but this year is with a new rage. Because every single day it seems we're yelling out a new name. Sick of seeing the same scene, this murder compilation's overdue for a new frame. 2020 was the year we got real clear on how this country feels. The pandemic disrupted life as we knew it, placed this country in a position exposing the many wounds it's yet to heal. The irony of it. This must be a big joke, an extended screening of an SNL reel. And for many Black Americans, 2020 was just that. A year where this country, the lack of our intentional, made it real clear where we stand. Real clear the way that this country views us, white superiority lens in hand. The notion that racism was no longer a prevalent issue for us, that we were no longer being held down by the man, went right out the window when the whole world witnessed George Floyd being literally held down by the epitome of the mother man. Antagonizing, patronizing, dehumanizing at the least. You might no longer see the fruit, but you can't ignore that blood on them leaves. I mean on those sheets. My fault, I meant streets. Boy, this heat wave ain't letting up, and I swear it's been playing for keeps. Sold souls again and again. But aside from death, what have we reaped? 2020 proved that as a people, we are bigger than defeat. Yet here we are in 2021, and it's already looking like a repeat, like they still ain't learned their lesson. Unarmed and unthreatening, but we're still the ones they're pressing. They shoot up clubs, stores, and churches, and in turn, they get arrested. They get their day in court and have their Proud Boy character attested. While the life no longer being lived is broken down and dissected, their justice rejected again and again. 2020 reminded Black people that here, justice is often not meant for us, nor will there be peace in the end, that this country has been a mere reflection of hypocrisy, founded on the principality of being free, but I guess that just meant free for them to enslave Black people for centuries. No biggie, since to them we were only considered property. How silly of us to think that by then we'd ever really be viewed equally. Not when there was once a time 2 to 3 generations back when they'd have appraised every single part of me, like how much is my body worth? What's the price of my fertility? Put me on an auction block and let them people bid on me. How could all that inhumanity and hatred ever equal peace for me, for he, for she, we, any of us? Yet somehow there's still confusion about our distrust. Some question our mixed emotions like slavery was long ago, move on, let that past go. Or slavery was over before you, and Even your parents were born, as if it's not plain to see that all it did was shape shift into a different form. Birth of a nation was an implantation of hatred, so afraid that we truly birthed this nation that they began to plague Black people with mass incarceration. I mean, just look at this country's law enforcement. We've been steady trying to fix something that's not even broken. Take a step back and refocus. It looks exactly how their constitutional law and force was meant, to protect and serve, just not you if you're Black. And that's not my opinion, it's just a historic recap. But 2020 showed what happens when Black people get more creative. Love crafting an image to us of those that before us in this country went through, like a flashback, make you feel it, reminder, but for who? Had we actually forgotten the truth? Caught up in what we see now, forgetting how deep this hurt roots? Shows and movies showing more than enough to start moving us, make us feel something else, an anger we may have never realized in us. Sometimes you just gotta see it to believe it, to know if you've really been fighting for or against it. Like a magic 8-ball, 2020 revealed an ally in some. Some chose to open their eyes, some decided to brandish their guns. Some marched for change, some cried out the names of all those slain. So many cities dealing with the same pain, trying to figure out how to move forward in the best possible way, but putting an end to racism is much harder to do than it ever is to say. Because ingrained actions are near impossible to erase. So what's our fate, 2020, now 2021? We've made a few steps forward, but what can really be done? I'm asking all of y'all. I won't pretend to have the answers, but I do know that 2021 can start by applying some real pressure. Hand out some guilty verdicts to those who think they're bigger than the lesson, who think they sit above the law. Show that just as quickly as they're propped up, they can surely fall. Show them that they're not at all beyond reach. Maybe those prison bars will help them understand the significance of being free, help them see that all they ever really had to do was give us justice and peace. Trickling, streaming, running down my face uncontrollably. Tonight I cried. I cried harder than I've cried in a while, harder than I've ever cried for a stranger before. Tonight I smoked more than I've smoked in a while, got higher than I've ever needed to suppress my tears before. Tonight I watched the murder of a stranger. A murder the world has seen for a week, but that I was afraid to watch. I was being weak. But weakness has never been my claim to fame, and soon that fear became curiosity. I felt I needed to see what was really going on. Yeah, I was fed up, but I wondered why this seemed to be the catalytic spark. Why this and not the 12-year-old boy gunned down in the park? Why was this situation bringing out previously unbothered people? Why was the world suddenly able to believe the inhumanity we faced at the hands of the protecting servants that we've cried out about for decades? And then I did it. I went and found the video, the original video released. And as I watched, the tears fell. And when I saw his face on that ground and I saw that knee on his neck, when I heard him plead that he could not breathe, and when I heard him cry out for his mama, it was seeing the smug look on the killer's face. It was hearing bystanders cry out for him. It was seeing him lie motionless while all the officers seemed emotionless. It was at each and every one of those moments that I understood. It was each of those moments that left my heart wrenching, my eyes leaking, and anger rising. All this for a stranger. A stranger that felt familiar, a stranger that felt like my kinfolk, a stranger that could have been my kin, my friend. A strange piece of fruit helping the world pull at the root's end. George.
That news gave me the greatest disturbance. A pastor blasted and 8 members murdered in the place they offered up praises and worship. In days it would worsen knowing the race of a person raises hate today, same ways as days of enslavement and servants. Now, it's bad enough the police making us nervous. And we fed up with passing Confederate flags when headed to our places of work and on our way to our churches. You don't think I felt the weight when I heard it? I live in a house with 2 potential Tamir Rices, 3 possible Sandra Blands, and every day I leave it stressed. I don't want to be the next Freddie Gray, shot down with 10 shells. Tears roll. They'll bring up something I did 10, 12 years old with news on. See, they don't care if you young, if you strong. They fed alligators with our newborns. See, they called Trayvon a thug. They said Eric Garner resisted. Well, tell me, what did the people in the church do wrong? And why am I hated on by my own because of my faith? And why do racists shove white privilege in our face? And why, with knowing words paint pictures in the subconscious, they refer to ethnicity as a race? They got us competing with each other right out the gate. On the other side, it still feels like we can't escape. They use fear to make you believe in what they say. And if you take everything on face value, You'll probably sell out to save face while they're stacking cards against humanity with a straight face. So kings, protect your queens and please warn your ace. I'm just calling a spade a spade. These jokers are wild today. A club with no heart for diamonds in the rough is how they play. They'll jack any resource they can that comes their way. Your pain, not pain to them. Your life is just a game to them. If you die today, they'll march at your crime scene, but tomorrow your life's reduced to a hashtag and a meme. Now, do you see what this foretells? Are your neighbors really treated as yourselves? It's throwing rocks at the glass house to move when the law enforcement of karma starts ringing your doorbells? Dear America, can you hear America? No thinking aloud. What do you fear, America? Oh, I know. It's like a child that can't sleep. Scared of the dark. For years you covered your face with sheets, but nowadays they not even riding with you. No more sheets. They why need a bottom in you. They rather build together. They want to see evidence of a government on Christ's shoulders taking precedence. Reshaping hate-filled hearts and grotesque minds. This is way overdue, so there's no rest time. I've been on my kneecap, matter of fact, both. Yes, I'm a living witness when you rep like a protest come. See, there's a huge gray area. And that's a fact of life, no matter how much they tell you that the truth is in black and white. But Matthew 7:12 entails a love for those that mirrors the love expected for self. That's the color gold. Straight up, life is real, and any day could be the last in the land where they duck demons, dudes with a badge in the clan. For better days, mothers still fasting and praying while a certain fabric of man establishing plans to get out of here. I sung Amazing Grace Young, sad with tears. I'm more still away to Jesus in my latter years. Devout soldier, bro was woke without Folgers. I learned as a child there's no child for mouth closers. I hear the cry for help in the silence of loud smokers that heat fabuloso on the stove to kill the house odor. The plug tell them the snow coming like Al Roker. They on the freeway with beans without hover. And I ain't trying to scold you, but what came first? Late 80s Harlem or early 20s Tulsa? That's if we talking culture. You see what I did there? Constantly reminding of it till it's relived. Yeah, I see the other side of the coin now. I got a clearer vision of where I'm going now. If you feed them some fish, they'll eat tonight. You teach them to fish, they'll eat for life. But our focus is owning the pond now. But look at how they do us. The condition we survive the cruelest. They profile, hunt down, and try to shoot us. They're predators, they praise us. No tribe of Judah. Ain't talking Jeffrey Atkins when asking for Jada rulers. I just pray my homies in high pursuit of the transition from the Mana Kunta to Mansa Musa. We lost the past, can't find a future, so we can't spend time drinking cheap wine and grinding dimes to the eyes on Medusa. Now I knew the plug would consign me keys, but my ambition won't Bruin to move white. So I chose the role of John P. Key. I acquired to give community new life. I grew up in the struggle, had men and rice in my bowl. No gloves, socks on my hands. That could be why with the pen I'm writing my soul. And if mustard seed size faith make mountains move, let's see what a mountain size amount to do. New narrative.
Y'all, I know you guys are feeling it the way I'm feeling it right now. I'm saddened that was actually our last set, but I don't know if this is the word. I'm gladdened, or I'm just glad that we are getting ready to go into something even more precious, and that's a discussion. But before we go there, give it up one more time, again, 2 more times, 3 more times for LB the Poet and Word Society. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm about to bring up all of our poets, and we're gonna go into discussion. I know, I just feel like maybe I'll just put it out there. I feel like they're gonna give each other props for such a good show. I mean, I'm just saying, tonight was something. I don't know what to call it. It was something. What would y'all call it? I'm kind of speechless, like I'm kind of on my words because I'm just happy right now.
Trend setting. It was definitely trend setting. You know what I'm saying?
It's the word.
That's the word.
That's definitely the word.
That is the word. Yeah, so I guess we'll kick it off by each of you were able to give a little piece about the reason why you're using the art form of poetry. Also music. You know, there was a live band tonight. There was live singing. There was a lot of beautiful art forms tonight. But I want to hear you guys comment on each other. Like, what did you see tonight that you didn't expect out of your fellow brother? Like, you know, okay. So let's just start. I'm gonna start with right here below. We'll go backwards. LB, give us some words.
First off, Joe bringing out Ja May and Sun Queen is a cheat code. First, you elaborate on a piece. And I didn't know. I could have brought a singer too, Joe. You just gonna throw it out there, but
it was the art of social justice. You know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of art forms. You know?
Joe always does this.
You know what I'm saying? He throw a cheat code.
He's that family member.
Like it's normal. Y'all could have did it too. I mean, it's the
He's
art.
that family member. He's the family member show up in a new Cadillac nearby.
Joe. But yeah, it was beautiful. And then, you know, with Bull City, Jambalaya, they always set a bar that is, for me, it's powerful being able to share a stage with these two brothers because I look up to both of them. But then when you look at the teams that we also brought along with us, it's a bunch of fire artists here in the state. And to the fact that we're all connected with one another is even doper. So thank you. It's peace. Sharing with y'all as always.
Really, it's not no gang, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, ain't no east side, west side, north side, south side. Like, there's love.
Yeah, that's how, I mean, but like I tell people, I started on Josephus stage 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So to now be to where we're on the same panel, it's dope. And peace. You've created. You know what I'm saying? You've done it. You got.
I met LB on Josephus at Josephus venue.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where me and LB connected.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so Josephus, give us some words.
Man, so first of all, the sign's got a picture of himself on the wall. I don't know if anybody sees that in the background. I'm gonna speak on that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, first of all, he's like, I'm gonna put the chair right here and my picture right there. I'm gonna stun on him. You know what I'm saying? The sign's trying to stun on you. You know, and then he switched it up and had the Nina Simone in the background with the glasses on. So he knew he was business. We had the glasses on.
You know what I'm saying?
So I just want him to know that I peeped that. You know what I'm saying? The LB came with the whole Dark Man X DMX move, you know what I'm saying? I was waiting for him to start barking, you know what I'm saying, and growl one good time.
I thought it was gonna be a little belly. I thought it was gonna be like a blue light all of a sudden.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen next. I was waiting for him to step out and jump out, start shadow boxing or something, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't sure what was gonna happen next, but he kept it mellow. But yeah, the black and white lighting definitely was a dope addition. You know, to the joint, especially artistically. You know, shadow boxing is kind of, you know, what we're doing in this lifetime as black men in America. You know, so I definitely thought there were three completely different sets. You know what I'm saying? That both spoke to our strengths. You know, and we're able to not only showcase our own art form, but to support our community like we all do, and lift others up that are on our team. So that's what it's about.
You guys are just super talented. I love it. Basana Hanu, last but not least.
Well, first off, I want to say, while we talking cheat codes, I'm going to say that when your wife spit hot fire, that's a cheat code, LB. You know what I'm saying? That's a cheat code.
Hey, that's love.
Cheat
that's
code.
Love. She in the tuck.
Yeah, You know what I'm saying? Y'all just in the crib cooking up heat and everything. All right. See you.
That's peace, bro. Love.
But the shadow, it's, you know what I'm saying? And don't think I ain't also peep. It's the art of social justice, HBCU, blackness, y'all all in black. Don't think I ain't peep that either. Don't think I ain't peep all that either. I caught all that. But so that was just crazy. That was just hella dope. And then, like I said, I've known Josephus for a long time, and that is Joe said that's basic Cephas, and I don't think the world knows that is. That was just a taste of Cephas. You see? And the thing I love about Joe is Joe has a ready Rolodex. Like you know how most people are ready. You know what I'm saying? Like as poets, we ready. We always got poems. Joe got a production ready. Like Joe is like 8 minutes of phone calls and a whole entourage. It's like Cirque du Soleil. Joe will have it in a heartbeat. Like 4 phone calls, and they're like, where do all people come from? It's ridiculous. So, but one thing about that's always distinct and unique about the Poetry Cafe is that it's always been a blend. The music and the has always been a part, and that hybrid has always been really dope. So I'm actually really glad that Joe did that, so folks can get that flavor and know that that's really how the Poetry Cafe gets down. Yeah.
So, you know, I just wanted y'all to spread your egos, not your wings like an eagle, but your egos, because we want to hear it. Just to hear each other talk about each other is just like super dope. But let's talk about a couple of things before we end it tonight. You know, I just have to go to a George Floyd. On that night, well, on the day that we got the verdict, I will say for myself, when the verdict came, I feel like I wasn't ready for what they were going to give us. As far as guilty. I wasn't ready for that. I was ready for just something different. I don't know. But you know, we weren't able to see the jewel, these braces, the jury. Am I saying it? I don't want to say jewelry. But we weren't able to see them, but we could hear them. I could hear them just yes. That is my sentence. Yes, that's no, yes, guilty. And so to hear that energy from them, and then when the judge, you know, just spit it out, just shout out the guilty. Looking at, I don't even try to remember old boy's name, the guy. I know if I see it, I know about. I'm really just kind of erasing him from my brain. God be with that. But the look on his face, I don't think he was expecting that either. And so stepping outside of that courtroom into the community went crazy. And I really feel this because we have been stuck so long on pause and numb, to the point where when these situations happen, we're only ready for mediocre. Oh, okay, you know, he got off a little bit. He's going to get a couple of years. But I don't feel like that's what's going to happen this time. I feel like, I don't want to say they're going to make him an example, but I feel like he's going to be the example for anything else that could happen or everything else is to come as far as taking care of business in the court. So y'all give me y'all's piece on it. We'll go back around. Or Josephus, you were. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I was prepared to be angry. You know, I was prepared to be upset. That's the reality of it for me. And when the verdict was guilty on all 3 counts, I didn't know how to feel. Like, I was so prepared to be outraged that I didn't have any room for any joy. If I'm gonna be honest about the situation, like, I wasn't prepared to be happy. And in that moment, I couldn't really comprehend why I wasn't happy. The judgment was read at 5:06, and I saw the people erupt in the street, and I felt bad because I wasn't feeling any joy in this moment, you know. And at 5:15, you know, they announced that a 15-year-old sister was shot and killed in Ohio by an officer. And I remembered why there was no joy in this one movement. Like, this is one, we're fighting every day, you know, and I almost feel like that was timed. Like, the release of that information almost seems like it was sabotage. If there wasn't any joy, this is a reminder that we still out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, you know, Mr. Wright that lost his life, you know, 10 miles away from that situation, not even a week prior. So yeah, it's hard to be happy, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of a war. and that's just reality of it. So I'm still trying to find that find that peace and that happiness.
And it reminds me, when you think about war, you don't have time to have small victories because you have to continue to fight. So if you're in a war and you take down the enemy 1, 2, and 3, you don't stop and say, "Hey, let's have a parade. We're so excited about taking those people out." It's like, all right, what's next? And so I feel like that's the mindset we have.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That's the reality of the situation.
Very unfortunate. And honestly, I'm being so honest because I'm very open about myself. I am, from the beginning of the show to now, it's hard to listen and be a part of these conversations without feeling like tearing up, only because I know the fight that we still have, and it's not going to end. There isn't an end to it. But what is it that we can do in the meantime? Yes, we're still at war. Dasan, what is it that you feel that we can do in the meantime? I think the most beautiful thing is express ourselves through the art, keep people from being numb, keep the narrative going, letting people know that this isn't the end. We still have a fight out there. But what is it that you know, or what do you think that we can do to move forward?
So it's interesting because a friend of mine posted a similar question a couple of days ago, and my response after I saw the question was, and not only, but at the end of it was like, how can we do something other than consider, other than talking about it? And I was like, well, if the worry is that we'll end up just talking, then perhaps consider not asking this question, but proposing something that you are going to do that you want people to join you in. And it doesn't matter how big or how small. It doesn't have to be major. You don't need to have a master strategy. Every effort to do something, to have an impact, whether it's outside your house, whether it's in the neighborhood, whether it's at work, wherever, is part of a larger struggle towards bringing change. The thing, so it doesn't, all activity is useful, and we have to attack it from all angles. And we also have to attack it by, bringing forth the skills and the things that we have. We have to start where we are, and in the ways that we feel comfortable. And if we do that collectively, then we don't need to have an answer because we're all at work and we'll have an impact. And that impact will ripple. And not only that, folks will see us moving. They'll either join us or they'll turn and do work where they are, because it's an example of what can be accomplished. So if we artists, let's create. If we create, someone will hear that message and be inspired to do something. If they do that, then they'll take 5 or 10 people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be collective energy around, towards the change that we want. But it also means that you have, we're so worried about apathy and distractions. We talk about distractions and talk about, inaction so much. And my thing is like, we get to that point because we put so much weight on some massive thing. You know what I'm saying? We criticize certain movements and certain faiths for waiting on a major action. And then we're doing the same thing. If we're like, why ain't nobody doing nothing? The minute you took to ask that question is the minute you could have taken to just have a conversation with one person. You're focused on the same major action that you're criticizing. And it's never been that way. Every major change that's happened has been a groundswell. So it means it starts small and ends up major. Waiting on something major to have an impact is top down. It's not the way this works. And so that's the thing I think we can do right now is where can you have any kind of impact? Who are you connected to? What can you do right now and in this moment that you can feel in action, but you could also be in action with others?
So another thought that comes to mind, again, it's a tough conversation, but thinking about family. I know you have a beautiful family, but as a man, every day with you, coming up with all these ways in which I know we had a conversation last week that the way that you have become who you are with social justice and using your art form to fight. It's not something that you signed up for. None of us signed up for this, but there was a pull on you to get out here and become that somebody for the people. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so like I said, about 11 years ago, I started performing with on one of Josephus stages, and I've always been the artist that, a lot of poets, we talk about community issues and things and bringing change, but it seemed like in Winston, and Deshaun and Joe can probably speak to this, like the poetry scene, especially the slam scene, it was like a gap. And then I came in, and it was just kind of a fit, I guess you can say. And from the work from open mics and regular performances to also hands-on, and back in 2018, my curriculum got put into Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. So that's my way of creating a change, getting other students and young people writing and expressing themselves and talking about the issues that are going on. Because, I mean, I'm a firm believer, like my generation, we're right in between the generation before us and the generation after, and that's like a sweet spot. We have to figure out how to be intentional about unifying. A lot of times in the community, we will click up, and it'll be clicks everywhere. But it's like, when will we kind of kill that clicky thing and just all unify towards a common goal? We all know what needs to happen. Just like Joe was saying, those were my exact sentiments towards the trial. When the verdict was released, it was like, why am I not happy? Why was I prepared to be mad? Why is this such a reoccurring thing to where it's so many names? It's like you have to go back and look up the names to really pay respect, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, where do we start? And for me, I think starting with the arts and being intentional about movements in all aspects. To be honest, like you being intentional about what you're doing, the words that you speak, the actions that you take within your community and other communities. I think that's one of the first things, or the first places that I wanted to start would be with my intentions, because it starts in your mind. Everything starts in your mind.
Speaking of one other thing, hashtags, right? I remember when I started to get, more savvy with social media, and I was like, oh yeah, I see what hashtags mean. But now the hashtags are becoming the space where people go to get more information. That becomes scary because as you're digging into the information, you're not really pulling the truth. And then so things get muddy. So right where we're trying to get people to understand how important it is to vote, how important it is when you're able to protest, to call the mayor's office, to call the governor's office. There's so many there's a lot of mixed information out there that throws our people off. What is it that you would say in this fight? We'll go back to Josephus. In this fight, what is the message that you don't want to be blurred? What is it that you want people to truly understand where we need to stand when it comes to, and I want to say taking care of each other, because sometimes it gets hard for me, and I hate to say this, like I'm all about Black Lives Matter. But then there comes that time where, you're right there with somebody that's not Black, but they're going through almost the same thing. And it's like, dang, you matter too. Dang, how can I pull you into this? But then it's like, no, we got to have this fight with us. How do we get that balance where we get this message out about who we are and that we still care about everyone at the same time? And the goal of making sure that we get the message out there.
That's a difficult question.
I loaded.
Thanks for asking me. Not really. So I think that as artists, you know what I'm saying, because that is my lens. It is a difficult one, but it's one that I dealt with my slam team. For a long time with our youth slam team, we had all Black students. For the first time, we ended up getting our first Caucasian person that made a slam team, and I had to very quickly come to terms with the fact that that maybe I wasn't empowering her the same way that I was empowering the rest of the team. That we were all writing those Black Lives Matter poems. You know what I'm saying? But if I told her to write a White Lives Matter poem, it will be questionable, right? But how can I? At that point, she was a minority. So it was a reflectional moment for myself, because I had to make sure that she felt safe and that she felt like she mattered also. And it was a process, and it's a learning process. And it starts with ourselves recognizing we can do to change the environment, because they were all children. You know what I'm saying? It's my job as a coach to be supportive of their endeavors and of their voices in the same manner. And so I think it first comes with being honest with yourself, and being able to recognize your own biases, as a human being, and then move forward in creating a narrative that supports, who you are in your community, but also doesn't necessarily have to negate other people, other races. The same way the three of us are here, all building poetry, dynasties in our own cities. We don't have to tear each other down in order to make ourselves higher. You know what I'm saying? We are all supporting one another in our growth. And I think the same thing exists with human beings, no matter what color, nationality you are part of. We are all experiencing love, pain, struggle, hate, confusion. And that it's possible to have allies that support you. But I think it definitely starts with conversation and being able to be honest. And I think this art form allows us a way, as LB mentioned earlier, to kind of not sugarcoat, but make it a little bit more palatable to start the conversation using our art.
LB, you look like you was about to say something. You felt something. You was like, so.
Joe, question for Joe. A poem you performed, it was about her.
Yeah, it was her birthday present, 21st birthday.
Well, hey,
I wrote her a poem.
You saw my face when I tied all of that. Like I wondered where that piece came from, and it makes complete sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. So you saw my face. That was the reaction. Yeah, T-shirt.
I think we won in on it. I mean, you know, but you know.
Yeah, so there's a poem that I wrote, about the situation, and I gave it to her for 21st birthday. I wrote the poem, and gave it to her, and it was, kind of apologizing, recognizing my wrong, and moving forward, learning from falling, how to walk, from mumbling, how to talk, and that is how we human beings move forward. So, she was not my last, but I would like to think I've gotten better in understanding and supporting the needs of my team, no matter what nationality they are, and making them feel supported and confident, in their voices, their nationalities, no matter who they are. And it's a tough walk, especially with things that are happening to us on a daily basis. But we are not alone in our struggles, and we can still support other people, which brings them in to support us even more.
Desan, something popped in my head that I wanted to ask you. Wow, it just went away. It's dealing with Durham. Wow, it was. I guess I got caught up in what Josie was speaking about. Dang, come on. Whew, it disappeared. Dang, it was a good question too. Okay, so I'm upset because I should have wrote the note about it. Man, it was a good question. Okay, well, let's see. I'll just say to our audience, we're gonna cut this in like 5 minutes. So if you have any questions that you guys would like to drop, anything that you would like to bring into this conversation, please do. I'm revving up my brain so that I can get this.
While you're doing that, I just want to say one of the things that's important, and I think that even when Doc was on earlier, one of the things that we have a hand in as artists to help add to is to provide useful frames and contextualization for what's going on. Because, you know I go through, even when I taught, even teaching at the HBCU, I went through having a conversation with my students where I could expand the scope of how they looked at things, because it allowed room. It allowed room for them to be able, for themselves, but to be able to let allies in. It also allowed room for them to see past being reactionary to being able to be able to see ahead of situations because they understood what was going on around them. So when we talk about things that are systemic or institutionalized, it's not to sound smart. What it is to be able to create, to operate in a lens that anyone can come to terms with. You know, like from any walk of life, if we look left and right and we go, there's something happening here, but if we look around that and we're like, oh, that's what it is, right? There is this thing that we're all wrestling with that benefits from us being at odds. Then we now both can begin to have a conversation that what does that mean to both of us? What do we both need? And then how can we take care of that so everybody can live the life that they need to live? So ideas like self-determination, equity as instead of equality, like these things that help widen people's understanding. I mean, I love the fact that I'm starting to see that happen with younger. There's an organization called PFO in Charlotte, Playing for Others, that's starting to have these conversations with teens, right? That they're going to walk into a world as young adults, having had a chance to be able to really look at the world in a particular way, but also to be affirmed in who they are and then respect difference by the time they're 18. And I'm like, yes. And we have a chance to be able to do that because that's an art-based program. And they'll be able to not only in day-to-day life talk about it, but take a stage. Here's the thing, to take a stage in a room that doesn't want to hear it and be able to deliver that message, whether anybody was prepared for it to be delivered to them or not, because that's the advantage that we have as artists. We can cut through the noise. We can have conversations on the stage that nobody wants to have with us on the ground.
I think bringing those two things together too. I was thinking when I was here talking to Son about Dr. King and Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Both having two very different strategies, but at the pinnacle, at the height of their careers, and what they're moving toward, it changed completely. It became so much more of a threat when they included all the poor people. You know what I'm saying? When Malcolm went to Mecca and was praying with Muslims from all over the world, and so we start in our communities with our foundation and our building, but then we grow and expand to the point where we can affect change with the entire community and bring everybody together with this art form. When that happens, then the power of change really starts to grow. Not neglecting our community and who we are, but being able to take that and build, you know what I'm saying, that with the entire world. And so that was a huge thing that we're all able to do with this art form. By the time once they have conversations that may start in our Black only, you know what I'm saying, slams or whatever, we get invitations to perform all over the country, all over the world, take that same message and really bring everybody together on a different level.
Well, my question was, and it was hitting me. It was more when we were talking about, and I'll wrap this up because I want to hear last words and go ahead and bring in Dr. Brown. Go ahead and just bring you on into the set. But this time, what I was going to ask you've done work in, let me get this right, Harvard. Go ahead and name them. Harvard, name them.
St. Augustine University.
I don't want to mess up. He's like, I haven't been there yet.
Go.
In particular, Harvard. I know that you've done some work with, and I know majority were Caucasian students, with poetry, getting that message, certain messages across as a Black man teaching, Caucasian students. How was that experience? I mean, was that something that, they're students, of course, but were there moments where you had to kind of do like Josephus and kind of step back and say, all right, how am I going to teach this without and still get the message across?
Well, there's two key things to that. That's a very good question. One is showing up. One is allowing yourself, to show up whole and authentic. That's the first thing, because we have to learn how to respect difference, right? This post-racial homogenous illusion is the danger. If I show up whole and authentic, then you see we're different, and then we can begin to have a conversation about what that means. I can then see you, you see me, and then we can move on from there. We're not at odds over this thing that we feel like we're supposed to get to that doesn't really exist. So that's the first thing, showing up whole and authentic. The second thing is that if you show up whole and authentic, then what you're introducing to each other is tangible and real. You can't argue. It's not an ideological difference that we're arguing. It's not theory. It's not. I'm an academic, but I don't do pedagogical debates with people. Like, I don't do that. Like, I'm real, you're real, our experiences are real. What do they mean? And then from there, we can start to kind of break it down from there. But we can start with, like, what are our lived experiences and how and where do they come from? Because everything is tangible and real. So those are the two things. One is showing up whole and authentic, and the other thing is operating with tangible, real things. Like, my teaching, I'm an artist, so I believe in experiential learning. I believe in putting hands on things. I believe in things being practical. I believe that we tell stories because it's hard to argue someone's lived experience. You can argue an idea. You can't argue a lived experience unless you are a complete jerk. And nobody wants to be that jerk. Right. Well, there are some, but very few want to be that jerk because we elected one. No, but very few want to be that jerk. Right? They want to believe that there's a sense of humanity that allows them to not be that jerk. Okay, then, well, if these are real things, your life is real, your experiences, who you were raised by, where you were raised, and so are mine, then what does that mean? And where these things intersect, where are they at odds? How, what are the things going on? So I have less of an issue because my job, and it's the same thing we do in terms of the spaces we hold for art, is the whole space where people feel not safe but brave. So if I come in whole and authentic, then there's establishment of a certain level of trust. Yeah. If we're going to operate on tangible, real things, then that means you can be real, I can be real, and all of us are accountable for what we know, for what we believe, and what we say. And let's hold a space where we can dig into that. And we'll leave, and we'll be in. You come back to this space, we can do it again. And in this space, we can have those conversations so that you can better navigate what happens outside of this space. And so that's just the way I've learned to do it.
I appreciate that. And I'm gonna make this the last question because I need to make sure LB get one more question in. The reason why I appreciate that is because here at Winston-Salem State, and I'm sure at other HBCUs, our problem is at the table is us. Women's History Month, I try my best not to say Black Women's Month because I want to include everyone. But it's Women's History Month, but it's mostly only Black women here. But to have those opportunities to have more than myself, meaning a Black person at the table to have these conversations is so important. So with our last question, LB, I know that you have had an opportunity to be in the space, in the city. You're sitting on a lot of different committees within the city, and you're around the people. How have those conversations gone? Have you been able to bring light and have others brought light to you about, what Winston-Salem is about, how we can be better as far as a community through discussion?
Yes. Surprisingly, I ain't even gonna say surprisingly, it's been a topic, especially here lately. And it's been more Caucasian people asking, what can I do, or how can I, you know what I'm saying, what would make this a better fight for all of us, or how can I be more intentional about my movements? So sitting on these, you know, like being a part of these different things going on in the city, people are really fighting to come together, and they're fighting for the arts. It sounds crazy because Winston is supposed to be the city of arts and innovation, but it hasn't really looked like that here recently, and now it's we're building towards that. So it's like I was talking earlier about everybody being kind of clicked up. We're kind of tearing those walls down. Like I'm ready to see more of a relationship between WSSU and Wake Forest University. Like I can't wait till we can, because I know my boy Donovan is doing some magical things over there with poetry. So to incorporate them, it's like it's still those walls that are up here in the city. And for me, it's like I'm for my people, but I'm also for unifying and, you know, fighting for that equity within the community. Because for y'all who don't really know about Winston, like, yeah, we come together for certain causes, but it's still a division here that needs to be addressed. And I feel like we're finally in a space where the city is looking to address it, and it's not individuals looking to kind of make some noise. Yeah. So
you got to show up at a city council meeting, and you'll know Winston-Salem is not playing any game.
Yeah.
I watch it like with popcorn.
Yeah.
So
it's finally happening, and it's the right people are in place. You got to think, like, for so long you're in a situation where things kind of get overlooked, or, you know, it's been set in the ways for so long. Now it's time for change. And I was saying that change comes in discomfort. So I'm excited about making people uncomfortable right now.
Woo! Let's make that a t-shirt. Okay. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, I thank you guys. You know, for y'all that know me, I'm a talker, and I'm always questioning. So these questions I'm asking are really, I haven't written any of these out. I'm just listening to you all, and I know that you guys can answer these questions very with clarity and not holding back. I appreciate that. But to wrap this up, if you guys could give me last words, I'll start with Josephus, then we'll go with LB, and then Dasan.
So last words, I'll say thank you. You know what I'm saying, to you, you know, for your vision, for bringing us together, you know, on this platform and on this stage. A lot of times, I don't think enough praise goes to the planner. You know, a lot of times you see a concert and you see all of the shows and the acts that hit the stage and all the fans there to see them perform, but, you know, without the promoters and the platform, and, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't happen. And we recognize that, especially the three of us being people that have done that for a long time, that it takes, you know what I'm saying, it's all doing our part to make this thing happen. So I definitely appreciate you for setting this trend, you know what I'm saying, at HBCU, to bring us together, and to really support us, because so many times you see social justice platforms happening and we don't get to really see it from an artist perspective. You know, so coming up with this art of social justice was beautiful because it gave a chance for artists, you know what I'm saying, to throw their 2 cents in the hat too. So I really appreciate that. And I think that we can all just do our part. You know, you can't compare yourself to what other people are doing. My man TC says all the time, like, you know, do you? Sam mentioned it earlier, and that's enough. Like, stop asking questions about what more you can do and just keep doing you, because in changing the world, you know, changing yourself and your community is part of that. So groundswell, like Dasan said, you know, each one of us doing our part in our communities does affect change one step at a time, one drop in the bucket at a time, creates a tidal wave. And so never doubt the power of your voice and the power that the fact that what you're doing does matter, just like you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, thank you. I'm up here blushing and trying not to smile too hard, especially with these braces looking 13, crazy. All right. See, there we go. Okay. Stop, LB. 3 more months, guys, and these are gone. Thank you, God. I want to be my age again. Okay.
You had the 13 out there, huh?
I'm just saying, I just feel 13. You go ahead. Did I see you next, LB?
Final words for me, everyone listening. One, Remember that every day is Wednesday. Every day is WINSDAY. You have to learn to appreciate the day. If you open your eyes and you're able to make the statement, you've already won. So appreciate your bonuses. 2, remove try completely out of your vocabulary. We don't try to do anything, we do it. And remove just out of your vocabulary because you're not just anything. You are what you desire to be.
Love it.
Bless up.
Thank you, preacher. All right.
So first off, this is wonderful. Glad this happened. Shalee, as always, as the person who makes all the things possible.
That's what you're trying to do. But go ahead.
You know, say it always. And so my final words are this. Being that this is Winston-Salem State University, being that this was a success, what I would love to see happen, since, you know, the 3 of us are in 3 different cities. You know what I would love to see happen next time? Is that the Art of Social Justice 2, right, builds a consortium where each one of us gets to go onto the HBCU campus in our city, right, works with a couple of poets, and we do this again, and those poets rock with us and as we present this, and let's see what that looks like. You know, let's see what happens there when we can all bring all of those pieces together. So that would be my idea for Art of Social Justice 2. I think we've set the stage, and I can imagine what it would be like for us to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Art of Social Justice is a thing. It's a thing now. So
That's
you know,
what it is.
how are we moving forward? I like that.
So, you know, I'm just saying, Winston-Salem State University administration, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for you to support an endeavor.
Yeah, Aggies would be down. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
In the building.
All 3, I'm pretty sure Central will be down too. All 3 universities have Lyceum series. I think it would be amazing for there to be a collaborative Lyceum presentation where—
Did you say amazing? These make up a word?
amazing type situation.
That's how families do it.
State University and Winston State University to have a joint Lyceum series, Art of Social Justice 2.
That's fire. That's fire.
I'm looking at President over there. Oh, excuse me, Chairman. Well, thank you guys. I'm excited. I mean, I'm gonna get some time. We're gonna take pause because I'll tell you what. There's a lot of work going on between us in our own individual lives. There's a lot of work going on to make this happen. I'm gonna take pause, but we gotta come together and talk about this. I'm ready. And I hope you all are ready for number 2. It's gonna come out in the fall. Last but not least, I want to bring back our. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna call you president anymore. The chairman of our Lyceum committee, Dr. Myron. Look at this, D. Brown. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me back on, Shalee. First of all, I just want to say what an awesome experience this was from beginning to end. I am hoping that everybody who tuned into this event, the Art of Social Justice, will leave differently. I'm hoping that it was more than just a collection of poetry, spoken word, and song performances, but I'm hoping that you took the meaning behind each performance to heart. Because it's not just a movie, it's not just a TV show. This is the life that we live on a daily basis. So I'm looking forward to you sharing this. It has been simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. Just look up WSSU 1892. Please share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with your neighbor, and be prepared in the coming days and weeks to have those uncomfortable conversations, because those places that are outside of our comfort zone, that's what's going to bring about change. So I really, really am excited. This was great from beginning to end. I want to thank everyone who made this possible. To the brainchild, Shalee, who can do all things. Thank you. Desan and Jambalaya Soul Slam, Josephus, the Poetry Cafe, LB the Poet, and Word Society. To the WSSU Burke Singers, your performance was tremendously moving. To Dr. Jack Monell, thank you for stopping by to share your words of wisdom on tonight. And I would like to thank all of our Lyceum committee members who worked behind the scenes to come up with all these ideas. I would like to thank Dr. Tony Artemisi, Dr. Will Boone, Ms. Guyla Cooper, Ms. Pamela Turner, Mr. Kent Beatty, Mr. Chris Glenn, and our student representatives, Ms. Nicalia Williams and Brittany Hedden. I would like to also thank those on campus behind the scenes who helped make this possible, including Dr. Mel Norwood, Secret Hall, Laura Huff, and all those in the Office of Integrated Marketing and Communications.
Yes.
We hope that you all will support the future Lyceum events next academic year, and we want to go even bigger and better. And we're going to talk about that partnership.
Mhm. So this was our last event for the year, right?
That's right.
See how I did that? I can't stop. Thank you guys for helping us to swallow up this year in a way that makes us think and move forward. Again, my name is Shirley Broussard. I was your host for this evening. Big shout out to my brothers again, Dasana Hanu, Josephus the Third, and LB the Poet. I'm not gonna put your government out there because you know that's what I normally do. You're like, why are you doing that? And of course, our president, Dr. Brown. And, I hope you guys enjoyed us this evening. Again, share it, and please stay safe out there. Wash your hands, cover your face. If you can, I just got my last one. I can't even pull it up. It hurt. Get your vaccine if you can. What I say?
Wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Right?
That's somebody's mama.
Wash your hands. Open your mouth. Get your shot. Okay. But again, you guys be safe. Love you all. Talk to you all later. We're outro. Peace.
Good night.